You're listening to Real Talk Texas on 570 KLIF News and Information. Now, live in studio, your host, local real estate expert Steve Hakes.
Welcome back to Real Talk Texas. Today we're talking about how to make money in real estate, how to maximize your profit when you sell your house. And we've been talking about repositioning, buying a real estate asset, repositioning it by investing some money into remodeling and things like that to put it back on the market and make the most money that you can in a short period of time in real estate. Some people call it flipping. I like the financial term of repositioning that asset. So today we've got Phil Loesch of Make Ready Specialist and Murphy Dykes of Peaks Flooring in the studio today, and they truly are real experts. And I've already told you how to text the show, so don't forget how to do that. We'll tell you again in a moment exactly how to do that. So in 2013, Murph, what's going on in the industry? What new things are happening in flooring that if I'm getting ready to sell my house and I'm getting ready to update it, so it's getting ready to go, you know, most people, what I know is carpet, and I don't have much knowledge on style and things like that. What are you seeing? What's happening in the industry?
Well, number one, in 2012, it was probably our best year since 2007 with less stores. And we have an increased need by landlords and investors right now. It probably doubled in the last year. And that was a surprise to us. And again, what we do is we form that relationship where we were talking about in that last segment. We form that relationship with that investor, and a specific salesperson takes care of them. And I think that helped develop a great deal of business. Now, what we're looking at in 2013, we're really expecting for about a 15% increase. And we see that basically, last week we had National Flooring Market in Dallas over in Grapevine, and there's just all kinds of stuff coming out. It's just unbelievable what they're doing with floors. It'll be talking to you next, I think, if they keep going. But yeah. And as far as investors, and it just depends on if you're renting or you're flipping and selling it or whatever. But one of the biggest increases we've seen across the board is the use of vinyl plank instead of other options, laminate or regular vinyl. The reason it's doing so great, it looks just like wood. It feels like wood if you run your hand over it. But the thing about it, it can go up to 20 mil thickness or 12 mil, but you know, it can take a beating, and if somebody does ruin it, you can pop a new plank in there and just pull it out, pop a new plank in there. It is probably, laminate used to be 12% of our business. It's now 2.5.
Wow.
And vinyl planking has just surpassed that. It's going near what laminate is now.
Well, if I were thinking about doing wood floors, and I want to compare that product versus real wood, I mean, what's the difference in pricing?
Probably about $4 a square foot. You know, it's the labor is less, the product is less. It's, you know, if you're going to go get a wood floor, probably the cheapest thing you're going to find is somewhere around $4.99 installed if you're really getting a cheap hand scrape. But you know, when you're at vinyl planking, you could probably get that in for somewhere around $2.59 a square foot.
So about 50% less.
Oh yeah, and plus it doesn't get scratched. It can be you can have a spill on it. It's not going to warp it. There's just all kind of benefits to it, and it looks great. We put it in our bathrooms in our stores, and people say, "You guys must be crazy putting this wood down on the floors in the bathroom."
Really, that much?
It looks that good.
That's great. That's great. And Phil, you know, we talked early on that you guys did 200 homes last year. Yes. I mean, what do you mentioned that the fourth quarter? What's happening?
Yeah, last year in the fourth quarter, things just. I mean, not that we weren't very busy up to then, but we saw a dramatic change on our investor business come right around the beginning of the fourth quarter. What that was attributed to could be anybody's guess. I think a lot of fiscal uncertainties and what was going to happen, and people made a rush to get things done last year versus this year.
People taking their money out of the stock market, putting it in real estate.
So I think it truly was repositioning of assets. So we were a little concerned that things might slough off just a little bit, you know, in January, you know, that we weren't pulling all of our demand forward. But January has been busier than December was.
Really?
There are a lot of people looking to put their assets to work. They've got money in self-directed IRAs. We've seen a big, dramatic increase in people using self-directed IRAs for real estate. The problem is you've got the stock market at pretty much all-time highs right now. You've got bonds earning you somewhere between nothing and very, very little. And real estate is one of the few places that there is actual income to be earned, whether it's through flipping or even on the rental side. We deal with a lot of owners who buy and hold the properties and rent them out. And the yield on that is it's through the roof right now. I mean,
we
it
all know
amazes
that
me.
traditionally, there are more millionaires made in the real estate market than any other industry. So that's a hard asset. It's never going to go to zero. It's not buying a .com stock or some stock with somebody that's running the company that you don't know. I mean, that could possibly go to zero.
If you're doing the buy and hold method, you're earning just solid income. You've got pricing power. You've got inflation protection. You've got quite a bit of good things that come with owning real estate and rental property right now. And we haven't been able to keep the secret too well, and now everybody's coming in. So you're starting to see a lot more competition, which is why sooner than later is the better time to get into real estate, because prices are starting to creep up. We're seeing better opportunities actually in the repositioning of homes on the higher end of the market than the lower end of the market, because there is so much competition for rental homes that are, in the $80,000 to $130,000 range, that it's hard to flip homes there. You get above that and you see a lot better opportunities.
Well, and the way I look at real estate is there's two ways to do it. There's the buy, reposition, make money and turn it as an income that way. The other way is to buy and hold, and we always recommend people own around 10 rent house, their house plus 9 other houses, and hire a management company to do that. There's a lot of things we can do to give you advice out there if you're listening, how to make sure that you're making money and making wise decisions. And if you're listening, obviously you are, but if you want some help, you want to build your team, grab your cell phone right now. I'm going to give you a number to text the show, and just text the word flooring fix, or text the word financing to 817-925-2546. That's 817-925-2546. You're listening to Real Talk Texas on 570 KLIF, and we've got some great experts in the studio today. Phil Loesch of Make Ready Specialists and Murphy Dykes of Peaks Flooring, and we're talking about how to make money in real estate. Let's get to I'm getting ready to sell my house. It's dated. What do I do to make sure that I get money? If I spend $10,000 in my house to get it ready to go to market, what's the best way to spend that money and make sure I get at least $10,000 back, or maybe more, because now my house is updated and it's more marketable? As
Phil said before, paint and carpet are the two things that are going to do it, and not necessarily carpet. It can be just flooring, depending on the way the house is situated. You can't go wrong there. We have seen so many times when a realtor has had a property, online for 3-4 months, and then as soon as we put that, do something with the flooring in there, it gets sold.
Yeah, I think when you're looking for a house, you walk in and you got dirty carpet or pathways in the carpet, it just really knocks the value down for me. When I look at tile that's outdated in a kitchen,
yep.
My wife Dana and I were just looking. We're starting to look for a house and looking to probably buy in the June time frame. We're still arguing over whether we're going to buy a flat downtown or buy a suburb house again. And we looked in South Lake at some homes, and we walked in one which was on a golf course, and walked in and it was empty. The people had, I think it was an estate that the person had passed away, but man, we had
brass fixtures, blue walls.
We had
and
blue
I wasn't even there.
tile with blue grout in the kitchen, and it was just funky looking. And I looked at that realtor and I said, "Man, good luck," because I'm on that house. It was around $450,000. I said, "You got to put about $100,000 into this house to update it." That was that exception, but that was my perception. And maybe if I had you with me, Phil, you'd say, "No, Steve, it's going to cost me $20,000."
And that's why you want to do those repairs beforehand, because while I would love to be able to charge $100,000, there was probably, I've done several of those houses, probably maybe that one in that area. It was probably $20,000 or $30,000 worth of work that needed to be done. You probably had $8,000, $10,000, $12,000 worth of flooring that needed to be done. You roughly the same on paint and fixtures and those things. But the perception is when people come in, this is going to cost me a fortune versus seeing it done. One of the most inconvenient things in the world, and I believe it's right up there, is number one. Number two leading cause of divorce is remodeling a house. It is a terrible inconvenience to put new carpet into a house that you're living in. Everything that's on the carpet has to go into another room, and you barely have enough room for everything you have in your house.
Well, when Dana and I were remodeling our house in Colleyville, we didn't almost get divorced, but we did sell the house halfway through. We were just saying, we're not doing this anymore.
So if you take away somebody's objection to a house by saying the carpet's done, the paint's done, the tile's done, those things are done. So you want to take care of paint and carpet to start with always. After that, you'd move on to your kitchen. That's the next biggest. Kitchens and master baths sell houses is our motto. So you always want to have kitchens and master baths done if you can do it. But always, always, always clean the house, paint the house, and make sure your flooring's good.
All right, so you're learning about how to make money on real estate here on Real Talk Texas. So pull out your cell phone, send a text to 817-925-2546. That's 817-925-2546. Let us know what area you need help on. You're listening to Steve Hakes of Affiliated Bank. You've got Phil Loesch of Make Ready Specialists and Murphy Dykes of Peaks Flooring. So thank you for listening in to our show. We've had a great time talking about this. It's a hot topic. A lot of people are watching this stuff on A&E. I think there's some money to be made here, and there's money to be saved by doing the right things before you sell your house. So thanks for listening. Tune in next Sunday here on KLIF 570 every Sunday, noon to 1. Thanks for listening.